Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of No Vacancy Live. Thanks for making time out of your busy day to come hang out with us here today. I'm going to be flying solo today. You know how much I love doing that, but not solo. I got a great guest today. But before we get into that, I just want to say our awesome, fun Friday night audit show is doing our first ever live happy hour comedy show from the lodging conference. That's going to be on Monday, the 7th of October. Really psyched for that. We may even do two that week. Plus, I'll be doing a lot of interviews there with all the top executives. So be sure to tune in for all that great content. And next week, I'll be with our friends over at Red Roof, hosting some stuff for them at their annual conference over at Mohegan Sun. And yeah, I'm going to get some content with the good folks at Mohegan as well. All right. So one of the things that I've been doing, I just got back, from a 10-day road trip. I'm out there seeing all the things that are going on. And one of the things that I did not see, unfortunately, because I was at a bunch of older hotels. All right, there were some cool designs too, but a lot of the older hotels don't have great design. And I don't see that anymore with new hotels. One of the people that are helping make a huge difference in our industry out there from Design Bar, Monika Nesbach. I'm so excited.
Hello. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I'm excited for you to be here. I saw your work, and I'll be honest with you. I think the thing that made me a fan out there is your mission is to get shit done. And
to do epic shit, not to get shit done, but that is included.
Yeah, do epic shit. And that's literally the way that you phrase it. So I love that you do that because it really sets the tone for your attitude. And then if you're listening to this, you want to watch it because then also your hair also kind of sets the tone of you're very good at immediately telling people what your point of view is and what the personalities are behind the brand.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means I'm succeeding at what I want to do.
Yeah, totally.
By the way, I'll be at the lodging conference as well, so we definitely need to get together and have a drink or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be the guy hanging out by the sushi bar, especially if they have some sake going on.
Oh, yum! I'm there.
Have you ever been to the lodging conference before?
It's my first time, so I'm pretty excited to be there. Make some good connections. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I actually added 2 days, so I have like 2 more days in Phoenix to kind of run around and do my own little design exploration of some of the iconic architecture that's there.
Yeah, and also look at the new wave of architecture. If you have a car, spin by where the new Vi Resort is going to be. It's $1 billion resort with Mattel kind of theme park aspect to it. But the cool thing is they're building the hotel around like a performance venue. So they'll have seats, but you could also, from your patio, from your, lanai or whatever you're going to call it, you can see the show. So
I love that.
Yeah, so you can check out that show in the Vacancy News database. But it again, that's like a step forward in design, a step forward in rethinking how we are approaching things. So, how are you thinking about, generally speaking, overarching design when it comes to the business of hotels?
Yeah. So I think in general, like thinking about design, we have to think about design not just from a pretty perspective or tell the story perspective. We really have to think about it from a perspective of a camera. because people are going to walk into a space and they are going to tell a story. Instagram reels are real, right? Nobody is going to look at maybe some carousels anymore, but everybody's watching reels, and you could just get sucked into watching those reels, right? And so the way we want to approach design, or we approach design, is really like, okay, what do people see? Where are those little nitbits and pieces, and that just like completely like create this like amazing video that then at the end of the day is free advertising for the hotel, right? At the end of the day, the impact, or at the end of the day, the impact of social media on marketing and branding and turning your guests basically into your employees is incredible. That's a concept we don't think about, but that's what we do. Seriously,
Totally. I've been talking about Instagrammable moments for a long time because it does exactly what you just said. It engages people and it makes them fervent fans of what your brand is all about. But Monica, I think it also goes a little bit further than that, because I think it helps frame how we like to look at things through a more, I don't know if it's a word or not, filmatic kind of way, right? We kind of like, everything is more of a show. Everything is more of creating these moments that we can remember in a much more impactful way than the hotel design I grew up with, which is an extension of my house: beige wall, flower bedspread.
Yeah. Or at the beginning of Instagram, it's an Instagrammable wall, right? Yeah. So you stand in front of it and you have that moment, but that's not the thing anymore. So you have to really think about a holistic approach. Like, how does the guest enter the hotel? What kind of different areas do they go to? Like, where do you want those little tidbits to be infused? So,
so I'm going to dig in on this. And I got some great photographs that you provided me with. I'm adding the editorial content that they're great. I'm not going to make her say her own work is great, but it is. So you make a great point. And I hadn't really thought about that at the front of my brain before. The whole idea is, with Instagram and other things, we were so focused on creating images. I mean, the whole big thing with Instagram, while it took up, was the image filters. But now we're not looking at stills anymore. We're looking at things that have movement in them that last for a definable amount of time. And that kind of has to reframe the way you're thinking about that design. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. And the more movement, the better, if you think about it, right? Because, our attention span is decreasing with generations.
What were you saying? I was focused on.
Yeah, that's right.
Little attention span you before you kids up there. Go on, Monica. Sorry.
Well, our attention span naturally is decreasing. And so the more movement you have, the better. And you kind of really have to think about it from that perspective. Experiential design is not something that's just, seen in theme parks anymore. It's everywhere in this world. It's in hotels, it's in multifamily, it's in, even corporate offices, when people want to get back, or employees want, their employers want their employees to come back to the office. You have to create moments. You have to create those little things that make it exciting. And and there's coffee, and there's this little nook that I can do a little selfie in, or all these kind of things are really, really important. How do you experience a space, and what do you want people to feel to form that emotional connection to the brand, right?
Okay, right. So again, before we take a look at the picture, so that's important. You have to have that all figured out ahead of time. Bring in the stakeholders to kind of map out what the energy of the space is going to be like, and how you want it to connect emotionally with your potential customer base.
And that, plays, of course, in hand with what is the culinary experience. So the sense of that, what is the mixology experience, the taste of the cocktails. If that all comes together, it's a beautiful thing.
It certainly is. Speaking of beautiful things, what are we looking at in this image? And for everybody that's listening on the audio feed, I'll make sure I have a PDF copy of all of these images as part of our show notes. Monica,
thanks so much. Yeah, so this is actually a restaurant we designed a few years ago. The owner wanted to have an Italian backyard feeling inside and outside. At the same time, this space was really close to the railroad tracks, so we wanted to kind of play homage to the locality of this particular space. And so we put graffiti on the bar front. The bar is actually looking out towards the train tracks, and it's kind of like freight trains, right? Like passing by, but all the graffiti is in Italian. It's like urban Italian phrases. So and then of course we brought a lot of greenery into the colors, through the textures, the wallpapers. I think I provided a few more pictures that kind of show all the greenery and really bring that inside outside feeling together, so we have a seamless experience inside and outside.
Hey, Lonnie Wolf is saying, creating moments and earning memories. It's the wow at every touch point, right, Monica?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
All right, here's another view of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. So this is going into the dining area. So that was the bar area. Going into the dining area, you kind of see some things peek through that are elements of biophilia as well. We have these chandeliers that I think I have a close up of as well, that are like petals. We have these wall notes, what they're actually called, kind of like tree notes, with biophilia coming out. And everywhere we kind of have that. There's the chandeliers that are like petal leaves, and then some outside biophilia as well. That was on the outside of the space. So
Let
everything kind of
me
tells the story of the inside, outside, all integrated into one.
Right. And biophilic design is exactly what she's talking about, bringing the notion of the outside inside. And what I
Yeah.
love about it is that it's really been proven scientifically to make you feel better. And I'm saying
yeah.
this for our audience's benefit. When you look at hospitals, hospitals that have gone with biophilic design, instead of even just having a plain wall, just have something of a forest, it helps people heal quicker and they get out of the hospital faster. Now imagine what you could do with that. And Monika, you imagine every day when you open your hotel doors to people, if you have that kind of vigor about the property, it's great. Plus, we're seeing a huge trend anyway of people wanting to commune with outdoors more anyhow.
I mean, I think since COVID, I think that has been ingrained in us, like how much we are actually need or have a need for nature, right? And especially for corporate.
Need for Nature sounds like a great 80s band.
Need for Nature, right? It's the greatest hair band. So I feel like the connection for especially for like corporate design as well, right? Because it increases your productivity, reduces your stress, reduces your blood pressure. I mean, it's proven to have so many good elements. Plus, it's got noise reducing factors and characteristics. So like, there's so much we can do with biophilia. As you can tell, lots of biophilia here. There's way more in the office.
No, I think that's a great approach. And one of the other things that you could do out there is with the lighting. I know that in certain offices, they have the lighting that moves along with circadian rhythm, so you could help people stay awake longer, which makes people more productive in the workspace as
Very important for hospitality as well to use circadian rhythm lighting in restaurants that are open day in and day out throughout the day and in the evening, that the light kind of moves with the circadian rhythm. I think that's very important to use. The layering of lighting anyway is as we all know, lighting is everything.
One of the big mistakes that I see in a lot of restaurants out there is they seem to be aggressively against creating a sense of intimacy, and there's way too much loudness out there. It might be that I'm getting older and my hearing is having a problem, but I find that it's getting much more complicated as the years go by to hear the people across from me. And I don't think it's just because I've been to, too many concerts. I think it just there's something with design that's going on.
Well, it all depends on what the objective of the owner is. Do you want to have a quick turn rate, or do you want to have people actually like have date night there? So, depending on what the objective of this particular location is, I would use design elements that would either enhance it or like want people to move fast.
I want the right amount of right. I don't want people to move too fast though, because the problem is talking about is it's too loud. It's going beyond like creating energy and excitement that makes you feel a part of something, and it makes you feel like I want to go somewhere else. So you have to, I'm right on target with you with trying to figure out what the right sound is for that moment and for the length of stay you want people to be there. That's got to be a really integral part of the design elements as well, because that probably leads to not just audio cues, but visual cues by intimacy of individualized spaces versus group seating or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. There's also a restaurant that I love to go to, but I only go to when I'm in a certain kind of mood. There's a very, very loud house music playing with a DJ, and you get like this really cool sushi vibe, right? But it's you go there for that experience. You don't go there to have deep conversations with your counterparts. You go there to have like the cool music with the cool background and the cool sushi. That's
all of my retail friends out there, you don't need to play house music in your retail establishment if you're looking at an audience that has an AARP card. Just throwing that out.
Depends on where you grew up.
Listen, I'd rather come to terms with the fact that Madonna's in like Muzak now. I can handle that a little bit.
I grew up in Europe, so house music was big when I was 19. I went to raves.
Yeah, of course you did. Were you in Germany?
Yes, I grew up in Germany.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool. It's in my blood.
Oh yeah. I had that.
And I still love it. I love those grandmas that are still rocking in the background when doing the DJs. I hope that's me one day. I hope that's me.
Monica, I've been to more than 200 concerts from this band Fish, and
Oh yeah,
I'm going to keep going until I can no
yes,
longer go
please do.
any longer.
And
You know?
they can no longer. Yeah.
I think they seem to be in pretty good health. They avoided all those problems and fixed them like 15, 20 years ago. So, all right. So back to
Yeah.
hotels and restaurants. This is an incredibly awesome looking space. And again, I'm a design novice, but it really seems to create different zones with a little bit different type of energy. That is, hey, I'm at the bar, or I want to have a little bit more conversation at this table.
I mean, it's one of my oldest projects, to be honest with you. It was designed in 2014, so a very long time, like 10 years ago, and it was way ahead of its time for Charlotte. I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now you see those things more often, but way ahead of its time.
Right. Well, I mean, when I was living in Brooklyn in 2014, this was like down the block for me. Yeah, but definitely.
Yeah. But Charlotte was like no. But I mean, this was a really cool concept. It's 8 sushi and Asian kitchen, and everything revolved around the number 8, which is also meant prosperity in the Asian culture. And I mean, there's so many references to the number, the sign of it. Then the bar front was the story of the last emperor. In graffiti, the bar top was little broken skateboard tiles. I mean, I laid them out by hand with the GC one day. It was like a whole Saturday where we laid out all these skateboard tiles and then glazed them together. I mean, it was a really, really cool project. And I loved that you could go in every single corner and like have a different view of what it was, right? And still have those references. So like I like the branded experience there.
Right. All right. So using that Instagram reel brain here, how did you think about, and this is, I know I'm putting you at a disadvantage because reels weren't a thing in 2014.
Yeah.
You were coming through it today. How would you visualize people would want to shoot that? And how would you think about creating moments to encourage them to do that?
So I would probably have some interactive experiences there as well. For example, the back wall had 8 different cubbies with different references to the Asian culture. I would probably make those interactive, so they're constantly changing, and probably make it bigger. And then maybe put an element in there also where the viewer can somehow, through an app or something, maybe influence those experiences. Definitely more design of the bathroom was not a thing back then. Now it's everywhere. So like, I feel like it's got to be that seamless experience as well. Yeah. So let me go to
the next picture. Boop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Very different.
Yeah,
we're looking at a Mellow Mushroom in Lynchburg, Virginia, which had Art Deco influences as well as references to rock and roll and the locality of Lynchburg, which has the mountain range, right? So the mountain range is on the ceiling of the bar. There's a ton of artwork on the walls that has like Art Deco patterns. I mean, you can tell that we're not afraid of color.
No. Yeah.
We're not one of those firms that you hire when you want to do like beige. We actually love color. So like any big impact and like a lot of pattern work throughout the space. And this space, I mean, you walk in, there's this big old jukebox in the front as the whole stand. And then there's this little party booth, how we called it, with microphones hanging from the ceiling that were also a light fixture. So like there's tons of references to, there's a big, huge quote from Charlie Chaplin in neon sign, like on the wall in the dining area. So there's a lot of things that you can use with your camera and just like tell the story of the entire space. And the bathroom is really cool too. So that was a thing then.
That's pretty awesome. All right. So I'm looking at all the colors and stuff, and all feels great to me. So the question I have is, how do you create something that's a little bit provocative, forward with design, but doesn't get stale too quickly? Because if you're doing something, the owner and the audience has an expectation of longevity for a particular design.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, I feel like the chairs or the pieces of furniture, like those are definitely timeless. Some of the shapes are timeless.
Yes.
The mountain range is never going to go away, so I just think that's a piece that's not going to change. Art Deco is a design era that is always going to be there. It's represented in some of the pattern work of the partitions on the walls. It's a timeless thing. It's coming back. It's going away. It's coming back, going away. I think that's not going to change. So like having those, especially materials and finishes that are more permanent, that you cannot change very quickly. I mean, furniture can be changed very quickly, but the finishes is where you have to be more mindful. Now, some of the pieces that are on the wall, those are from the Mellow Mushroom warehouse. If anybody ever worked with Mellow Mushroom, they use their own artwork that is represented in those in the locations. But yeah.
And what's cool about that is because they're a successful chain, is they could actually move artwork from one place to another should they choose to.
But they have like 5 or 6 different
too.
warehouses full of artwork. That's all the owner does, is travel the world and find artwork.
That's really wild.
Yeah.
I thought just like Hard Rock did something.
Yes, it's very, very cool. And, as a franchise owner, you get to walk these warehouses and basically like custom curate your art.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty cool. All right. So when you're thinking about, designing for the next generation traveler, what are certain things that you think are tentpole musts to be able to include?
Technology, connectivity, connection, not only on the phone, but also having very moldable modular spaces, so they can like easily change. You can change from a little co-working area to a little gathering area for a party to little, like those things. So change spaces that are very, very flexible.
I think that's a really
keep it real.
I think that's a really smart idea, because and that gets right to the crux of a specific problem a lot of hoteliers are having out there: how to activate certain areas at certain times of day, like that breakfast thing in select service hotels. It's great. Then at 10 o'clock, it's crickets, and you don't usually get any life back in the evening. So if you could,
look at big ballrooms, they're not used when they're not booked. So you can create these really, really cool co-working spaces and then move some of the furniture out and move the ballroom furniture in, or if you have like banquets or, weddings and things like that. I think those are spaces that are so underused, and they're always in the dungeon down in the bottom of the hotel, like somewhere where there's no light whatsoever. You don't want to go down there. Maybe the gym is there. Like I feel like those are spaces that are underused and underutilized, that can generate so much return. Especially, I think, we've touched on this before, going on here as well, the leisure traveler, right? Like the leisure traveler and the business traveler. So like, how can they, use those spaces during their reason for travel?
So I did a bleisure trip because I was getting different types of content on this. I
Those
just
are
came
the
back.
best. Those are the best.
I did a 10-day trip, but it was all work focused, but it was I had a weekend. So I went to a ghost town and shot a video there and did a couple of things like that. So I'm all aboard with that. But I always hear like everybody wants to work downstairs, but I really want to work in my room and kind of be left alone. I'd like to see a little bit more emphasis on making the rooms more comfortable. How do you think about making rooms more comfortable for the average hybrid traveler? Now, I'm certainly going to go down there and maybe check my email over a meal or something like that. But I work best in my room being left alone with something stupid on the TV.
So I feel, okay, I'm hitting back on the technology part again, right? Because if we are working,
because it's a part of everything now, Monika. You have no choice. Yeah.
And we talk all about immersive experiences, right? When you go to Van Gogh immersive exhibit, for example, why not create a mini immersive experience where you can have your brand in the background, where you can represent your company, no matter where you are, just behind you on this little wall, because you like pushed it on an app, and here's your logo, and here's your Zoom background, right? So I feel like having an immersive variable in hotel rooms would be an amazing addition to every hotel room. And then when you're done, you can do your little beach scene, or
Yeah.
you can do the mountain scene, or you can do, wherever you want to be, you can create that little experience in your hotel room, and you don't have to go anywhere. And then you get room service, and just you're set for life.
And wouldn't that be great if the hotel already suggested what I should eat for room service, and they actually knew
right? And then you have a replicator, and kind of,
that would be that'd be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about being on the Enterprise crew in the 25th century, so I could have
me too. I'm still waiting.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd, as you can tell.
I love it. I love it. I was raised on all of that kind of stuff, and I still love it. I just started watching the Monarch show on Apple Plus about the Godzilla type creatures and stuff like that. The Titans. So
very cool. I have to check it out.
Yeah,
but I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a holodeck, right? Creating your immersive experience.
Yeah, and that is absolutely the truth about it. I like how you got in the Next Generation, reference in there as well. So
that was my era.
I grew up in the 70s, so I was watching original series, syndicated reruns, like the babysitter's coming over, we're going out for dinner. I'm like, okay, I don't care, that sort of yeah. Okay. But so when you're thinking about design, how are you thinking about meshing technology with physical design elements to create a more immersive experience that connects with the guest, but doesn't make it feel like we're living in too technological of a world?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you can do overlays for sure, like where you can use it or you can't use it. So you have to, like, where you have the option to engage with it, or you have the option to not have it and then not have a blank wall, right? So we're actually designing a space right now where we're doing a hybrid of a mural, which is static, that represents some of the old history of the space that we're doing, and then overlay it with, have you ever seen those clear LED films that completely project like figurines or water or fire or all these things? They're like clear films that you can put on glass, but you can also put them on a wall, right? And so we're overlaying both, and it creates a new piece of art.
Kind of reminds me, maybe it's something like Disney uses that, and like the Finding Nemo ride and stuff like that. So they're floating in the water, but it's really glass plate that an image is projected.
Yeah, and so from old create new. So like it's off and it's fine. Like it's still an experience by itself. But then once you engage it, then it's something new and fun, and it's ever changing, right? It keeps that mind going. So
all right, so
I think by layering.
Yeah. Totally. So we've talked a lot today about great ways to design and really create moments for your customers. But I think, Monika, the through line here is really about choice and options and giving customers control over the experience. Is that right?
Customization. Yes, absolutely. I feel like everything, and I mean, you can already see some of the trends. I mean, some of the hospitality trends are now opening hotels just for foodies, or, just for adventurers. I mean, that's why Airbnb took off so much, because it was so individualized, and you could really find something for every taste. And today's age and the new generations are all about their customized, individualized experience, and not about what everybody else does. You want to stand out, right? I mean, that's why we have creators. That's why we have influencers, and that's what everybody's striving for. You want to stand out from everybody else, and so like an individualized, customized experience does give that to you.
Yeah, I love it. Monika, how can we learn more about you at Design Bar?
Oh, okay. Well, our webpage is designbaronline.com. Our Instagram handle is @designbar. TikTok, Designbar Online. So you can find me there, or just call me.
Do me a favor, hang out backstage.
If you're old school.
Hang out backstage while I wrap this up. I'm going to be in Charlotte at the end of October, but hang out. All right.
Oh, awesome! Yes.
Cool. All right, buddy. Thanks so much for being here. I want to make sure that you remember that we've got all the images in the show notes on the audio feed. And, so go check that out and be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcast, Facebook, Instagram. I guess we're doing Reels now, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all the shows are on novacancynews.com. Thanks so much for being here. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on, and I'll see you tomorrow.